Let's go ahead and begin our meeting. So, hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is Monday, the 28th of November. Whew, I'm already in December. I'm already in December. Okay, so we're in November. So, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, as you know, this is our meeting to discuss all things leaders recognizing leaders. And we have an amazing group with us today. Our team leaders and mentors are here to share some great words of wisdom and support as we continue to push this organization forward. So I'm going to go ahead and begin first by saying we do have Dr. Felder on the line, and I want to be able to allow her to just share a couple of words of inspiration and motivation as we open up today's call. So Dr. Felder, I don't know if you have to jump off at any point during the call, but I just want to give you an opportunity to say hi and kind of just let us know you're in Tennessee. Yeah.
Excellent. I am just so elated that we are having this meeting. It is important to continue an inspired organization from God. There is a great purpose and plan for the organization to move forward. These days and times where the world is not as bright, LRL shines and encourages leaders as they recognize other leaders. So I just thank God that we're having this meeting to discuss some ways that we can continue to impact the world, not just for one day, but for a lifetime. So I just thank Dr. Ward for her leadership and all of the team that she has put together in order to ensure the longevity of LRL. So blessings to each and every one of you. I hope you had an exceptional Thanksgiving. And I was able to just write down so many people and things where I'm grateful. And most of all, they are in relationships. So I thank God for the relationship that we have with each other and the organization has in our community and society. Thank you for the opportunity to share. Back to you, Dr. Ward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Felden. We really do appreciate you so much. And for those of you who are listening in, Dr. Felder was actually the first advisory board chair for Leaders Recognizing Leaders and continue to be in an advisory role to support us and to keep pushing us. And I assure you that when we do have another in-person event, I'm sure we'll be able to enjoy her presence as we have done so over the years. I know Taylor had an opportunity to really have a really great connection at the last event. So I'm so happy that you're joining us in from Tennessee. So let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. It's now 6:08. And thank you for that opening word of inspiration, Dr. Felder. And let's jump straight into the mission of the organization. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Taylor, and she's going to share some information about the organization for those of you who are getting to know. Taylor's our vice president of the organization. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yes, thank you guys for joining. So happy to see you all again. So yes, I couldn't have said it better than Dr. Felder. So thank you for those words. I think what's amazing about this organization is that there are organizations like this where we can continue to inspire people to do the right thing, to be leaders, to get involved, and definitely for the longevity, not just for us, but for everyone to also continue to foster these relationships. But for LRL, as we've discussed plenty of times before, our mission statement is to teach young people ages 15 to 25 years how to be leaders and young diplomats, reshaping their mindset for community service, educational development, and global communication in local, national, and international communities. I've had the privilege of being in that age bracket, like as a young person, even now, being able to be surrounded by great leaders. And it's so important. I wouldn't have gotten this far if it weren't for organizations like this. And I definitely feel like we have to continue that work, continue the planning, continue the brainstorming, and just coming together with our experience, our expertise, and just bringing together our ideas because we can do it even from afar. We did it in person, and that was amazing, and we can continue to do it in person in the future. But we also did it virtually, so we're not done. LRL's work is not done, and even if it is not in LRL, our work as leaders is not done. So that I'm really excited for, and just kind of continuing to push that mission statement in each of our individual roles. So our communication has definitely spanned. I don't want to go off, Edwina, from your plan for today's meeting,
Okay.
but we are everywhere, and we should continue to branch out as much as we can and reach out to people and find different ways that we can connect, either in partnerships or reach out to young people who might need volunteer service hours. And we can get into that a little bit more in some of the ideas that we can foster those partnerships. What is it that we need to continue the organization as a nonprofit? So that's some of the things that we can talk about later today or in another meeting.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that, Taylor, to to start this meeting off with the importance of our mission statement. And I think that that's one of the most critical areas that we can start any meeting off in knowing why is it that we're coming together. And so I just saw that Octavian just joined us. So hello, Octavian. It's great to see you on board. So thank you for coming in. So just really quick, I want us to go down the agenda. And one of the things that I would share with you as the president's report at this point would be that we really did hit a very shaky point with the organization. As you all know, we just really came off of a very challenging time nationally, globally, with the global pandemic. And it really has been somewhat of a struggle to get going again. And I want to say a special thank you to all of you who individually in your own spaces have really contributed to encouraging myself as long, along with others to be able to still be motivated to do this work. We also had a great opportunity as well to bring some new faces on board. So I just want to really make sure that we introduce everyone who's on the call so you all can kind of get to know who's who or some of the faces that you're not so familiar with, but just to make sure that we have a clear introduction. So in this moment, I want to make sure open up the call so that we can also introduce our new advisory board chair, who is Jasmine Fan. So Jasmine Fan, I want to be able to give you an opportunity to say hi and kind of make sure that everyone know who you are and your leadership as well.
Sure. Like Dr. Ward had said, my name is Jasmine Fan, and I was privileged enough to be able to come onto this incredible team as the advisory board chair and just take on the role of doing some things like working with mentors and doing this side of leaders recognizing leaders to be able to help the organization further develop in the way that we would like to see as we continue to work among communities all across the globe.
Absolutely. Super. And thank you for that. And that will also still be a way that we can continue to foster new relationships and connect the organization to other spaces and other people and globally. So let's just kind of go down the list here and talk a little bit more about our leadership and our language. So as you know, the organization is all about helping young people, right? So the focus is to mentor high school students, also to mentor college students. So one of the things that I would share in this report at this moment is that we definitely need more mentors, right? We need more mentors to come on board to be able to share words of encouragement to the high school students. If you will, a call to action to encourage more business professionals to come on board and to share some time with us, as well as try to figure out ways that we can be able to implement new strategies to be able to push the organization forward in terms of leaders coming on board. So exactly who are the types of leaders that we look for? So anyone who has a professional background, we would like to get to know who they are, and really just do somewhat of a small vetting process to find out what it is that they can contribute towards learning and sharing about leadership development as far as students are concerned. As you know, the ages are 15 through 25. And so it's critical that we talk about skill building. It's critical that we talk about college experiences for many of the students who are transitioning into college. It's also critical that we discuss ways that they can be very effective within the organization so that they can be mentors as they graduate from college. And so it begins to create this cycle of them becoming, being a mentee, and of course, returning back as a mentor. So this is kind of like the language and the flow that we hope to inspire people to be leaders amongst the space, but also make sure that we have that guidance from mentors to talk about their professions and to talk about life experiences, right? So it's not just about focusing on, okay, everything, all things leadership and no fun. So we want to always share the excitement of the organization so that more students, not just locally and nationally, but globally, can connect with each other. And so that's the essence of the importance of this work. We also have a great focus when we think about the language of the organization on community service, right? So service learning projects, we can certainly do that through virtual learning, virtual discussions, virtual conversations. And I know that previously we had a really great conversation around career talks, which was really, I mean, just a great experience for those who were looking at different careers and hoping to establish their own platform, having mentees and mentors to come together. And there's such a great opportunity for young people to now utilize the virtual experiences to connect with all these leaders from around the world. And so we really just need to maximize on that and to see how best we can grow that through this organization and kind of really just expand the network and opportunities. So I'm going to pass it over to Taylor again, and we're going to talk a little bit about what does commitment mean as far as the organization. So I talked a bit about leadership and the language of the organization. So now we want to focus on what does the commitment look like in terms of bringing people together. So I'm going to pass it back over to you, Taylor.
Okay, absolutely. I do also quickly want to make mention about the career talks that you were just talking about. That was such an important and I think influential time for a lot of the students in the program. There was a lot of feedback about that. And not only did they get a lot of information from that and was the participation at, I think, its highest for the organization, but I also noticed that it allowed opportunities for the students to also get involved in hosting and co-hosting. I actually had a conversation a while back when we first started doing the career talks with one of the students. Her name was Ruby, and she was nervous about speaking. She was nervous about public speaking. So in that moment, I was able to play that role as the mentor when it comes to public speaking and just kind of giving her my experience of also having anxiety with speaking in front of people. But after that call, she had this confidence to be put in that position to even speak in front of people. And it turned out amazing. Like she actually had that confidence. And the only way that we can do that is if we put students in positions that are uncomfortable, but encourage them that we're there every step of the way. We're walking with you. We're doing it with you. You're not alone. You see us doing it. It's not as bad as it may seem. And that, I think that's just the only way, is you have to actually push people to be in these positions. It can't just be us who are, you know, the leaders of the organization being the ones that are speaking and hosting events and things like that. That's a disservice to them. I think that's a disservice to them and a disservice to what the actual goal and mission of LRL is. But as far as what commitment looks like, commitment from any position in the organization, whether it's from the vice president, the president, down to a member or a partner, is showing up. It's showing up. It's being present. And I think what I truly think probably happened as alongside of COVID was probably also the transferring to different platforms. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult for people to get into something new that they don't understand, especially if there's not someone actually next to them helping them, and especially because we're virtual. So that's going to be kind of the issue that we might run into being virtual. But there are pros to it because we can connect at whatever time that fits all of our all like that just fits. And to be honest, this is just the world that we live in. I wouldn't be able to connect with all of you from Georgia or Dr. Felder from Tennessee if it were not for Zoom. So I'm definitely not bashing it at all, but definitely commitment. Um, we have to show up, participate, even if it's just a quick message in the chat. What I really loved what we did about a year ago was when I first joined the WhatsApp. I loved how we were engaging in conversations outside of just service hours, like join this meeting, things like that. It was getting involved, and I was able to learn about what books like Dr. Perrin was reading and things like that. So I really like that. And it kind of goes back to what Dr. Ward was saying, is just being, more personal. And I think we can do that. I think we can do that through Zoom, and through finding mentors who are willing to take the time. And that should definitely be a part of that vetting process, is how much time are you willing to give back to the students? And it'll be beneficial to everyone, I think. So, and as well for the students too. Also, that's something we also need to address, is what schedule works best for everyone. The reality is, though, if someone really wants it, they will be there, but we have to still be available so that they know that we're here. We're here every single day. Edwina, Dr. Ward is always in the chat. We're always here to answer messages. And I think we just kind of have to leave that open, because I know that Dr. Edwina is available, but does everyone else know that? It's kind of the concept that we have to kind of keep in mind, is leaving that open, and open for, and also I think we have to keep in mind what conversations and what kind of what services we're offering to the students, so they have an idea of who we are. I think doing meetings like this is an opportunity to show that. If we've done that before, we continue to do it today as we're all showing up today. But definitely, I think we need to get back to forming those relationships and those networks with mentors that are willing to stick it out, like actually be here for the long run. I think that's so important, because without that, the organization can get lost without that. It's because where's the direction? Where are we going? We need help, all of those things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Taylor. And I think that, what's critical about what you said is how we communicate, right? So connecting the dots to communication, the importance of communication. So exactly who are we communicating with? And it's important to know that we need to connect with students, right? More importantly, the high school students. We definitely want to be able to connect with parents, teachers, volunteers, school staff, persons, and really just provide them with information. So moving forward, how we share information is going to be so critical. Our Leaders Recognizing Leaders Instagram page is currently down, and it will be back up very shortly. But one of the things that we need to figure out as a group is, okay, exactly how are we reaching individuals? So yes, we may have all the social media pages, but are we very active on the pages? And are we really promoting programs? And are we discussing ways to be able to invite them to come into our spaces? Because as much as we can provide information, it's always a great catch to figure out, okay, how do you really bring them into the space where we're discussing leadership development, where we're discussing community service and educational development conversations. And so our plan moving forward in terms of how we really recruit and how we really utilize the importance of communication, providing announcements, giving volunteers an opportunity to earn service hours, talking about the mission-driven purpose of the organization. That's going to be so critical. And we also have a point system that was recommended previously. And before I move on to the point system, I want to give everyone an opportunity, if there is a particular question or a thought so far or a comment that anyone would like to share, I want to open it up to allowing you all to speak and to give any words of feedback if anyone have any comments so far. No. All right. So we can keep rolling. So when we talk about the point system, we really want to be able to invite more students to understand that, hey, listen, there's benefits to being involved in this organization, right? And so the benefits is not so much just only you working on service hours, which is a very important point in order for them to graduate here in Broward County, Florida, as a requirement. But Taylor, you want to share just a couple of words on the point system that you recommended for us to be able to share with the students that I know it's in developing stages. Would you want to share some of that?
Absolutely. So I had this idea. It's a very broad idea, and I'm absolutely open to any changes or maybe different ideas. But the goal is, how are we going to grow our volunteers and the members that we're bringing into the organization? So I was thinking possibly doing a point system, um, as almost elementary as that might sound. It's an incentive, and it's an incentive to also help us keep track of how much each person in the organization, specifically the volunteers, how much they're putting into the organization, as well as it helps us kind of keep track of the hours that they're doing. So basically, it could be sort of a spreadsheet so that they can see their progress, their personal progress. I haven't exactly thought of an exact platform, and I can think more about it. But what some possible incentives could possibly be is either positions within the organization or possibly awards for our awards gala towards the end of the year. Those are some of the things that I'm kind of thinking of. But what I have found in just my experience when I was in high school and in junior ROTC is that it kind of kept people motivated, kept them kind of pushing. We used to have point systems. Well, in ROTC, it was off of GPA. You couldn't see exactly what the name, like which name, and I wouldn't suggest we show names either, depending on what it is. But it would show our GPA, just how the work that we put into whatever it was, whether it was some of the awards that we had that we acquired over time, ribbons, things like that. And it just kind of kept you wanting to be better, do a little bit more, push yourself a little bit more, seeing that other people were getting involved too. Um, and it's a win for everyone, because then we can track what everyone's hours are and track for our own record how much time has been put in from volunteers, what it is that we need to work on for previous years. It really just documents that, but also helps to give more of an incentive that I think we might be missing, or that could actually just help the organization virtually.
Absolutely. And that is definitely worth noting as we move forward, to make sure that we think about ways to incentivize all of the program activities so that students can be able to feel a sense of pride in doing the work that they're doing. So yes, it's not only just service hours, but it is also a commitment to their development, their long-term development. And I think that this is something that as we continue to develop this initiative of working on the point system, we definitely want your input, everyone, to be able to add any feedback. We will share Google Docs of the items that we're looking at in terms of how do we break it down, and what are some incentives. So I want to pause for a moment here and give Kamora an opportunity to give us a Secretary Treasurer's report, being that we have discussed so far the communication, the leadership, the language, as well as the recruitment conversation and planning. So I want to give the floor over to Kamora Ward. She's going to go ahead and share with us an update on the Treasurer's report. So Kamora, over to you.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to say welcome everyone and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. And I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. So, for my report, Dr. Ward will be donating $150 next month, and we will welcome anyone who wishes to make a donation and to please make a pledge commitment. No donation is too large or too small. In the next upcoming meetings, we will invite guest speakers to discuss all things philanthropy to support an endowment for LRL. We also know tomorrow is Giving Tuesday, of which we want to remind everyone that we can now accept donations. And so let's help LRL become a favorite charity on the mind of donors. If you or someone you know would like to make a gift donation, please let us know or send an email to joinlrl@gmail.com. And again, we are looking for speakers. And if you think of a great person or topic you wish to hear, to discuss, and please share with us.
Fantastic. And I guess we can probably also get an update on the membership dues. You want to go over that as you're right on your subject?
Sure. Let's see.
And so as Kamora is getting ready to pull up the information on the membership dues, I think we're going to go ahead and pass it over to Jasmine immediately after to talk just a little bit about the importance of being a part of the executive team and what that entails as well. So if you can just share with us, Kamora, about the fees for membership.
Mm-hmm. So the advisory board annual membership is $80, which is $40 down and another $40 within the next 2 months. And we accept Cash App and Zelle. And our genuine annual membership starting January 3rd is $20 down through Cash App or Zelle and $25 within the next 2 months, which is the total of $45 for the year.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And just to share, this membership amount was actually one that we strategically looked at to see how do we continue to maintain the work of the organization through administrative fees, as well as just to keep a basic structure of the organization's finances together and to keep us growing. The cost itself is very minimal compared to the work that we're going to be putting into this organization. So previously, persons have asked if they can split the total so that it would not be a burden on you all at once. I myself have joined other organizations where the cost is $100 plus, right? And so we wanted to make sure that as the members are coming, as new faces are coming on board, for them budgeting a split in the total cost was something that we have put off for almost now since 2019, really. And so we want to be able to bring that back because, of course, the more funds we have to support the work of the organization, the better off we will be in terms of implementing new strategies or implementing new programming, being able to meet up and to be able to host events and that sort of thing. So please put that on your calendars beginning. You said that date is January the 3rd. January the 3rd. Yes. For us to start working on our membership dues. And again, just know that it's going towards a really important cause, and this work must continue to grow, and we definitely need your financial contributions. So thank you so much for that, Kamora. Any questions on that?
Oh, I do have a question about donations. How do we send donations, or how are they received?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I just want to jump in and say that we had a short pause in our we had a mailbox that we were able to receive letters and donations from, but the cost of that was also very, very expensive. So we had to pause that, and so the donations can be mailed. I can provide you with the mailing address that I do have access to. That's not costing us at all. And then from there, we can build back up our revenue so that we can get back into the mailbox, the U.S. postal mailbox. I know previously you had mentioned about having I think you said like an online office where you can
It was a business address,
business
I
address.
think. Yes.
Yeah, so we still have to do some more research on that, if you will, and that will just add to. But in the meantime, being able to utilize the tools online of like the virtual Zelle or WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, I'm sorry, Cash App, is a little bit more easier to go directly to our Florida account.
Okay.
Yes, and there was a question in the chat, Kamora.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you just said?
There's a question in the chat, and that's how much is the advisory board annual membership dues?
Okay. It is $80. I can type it in the chat just so you can have another look at it after that.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And let's see here, that's okay. So yeah, if you can please type it in the chat, that would be great. And let's just go ahead and transition over to executive team. So as we continue to build up our executive team, uh, if we can, Jasmine, you want to share some of what our work would be together collaborating with the organization.
Yeah, there was one more question in the chat. Okay, it was answered. Okay. So repeat your question. What are we doing with the executive board?
Yeah, so just as we continue to grow with the executive team and as you're coming in as the new national board chair, like what are some of the areas in terms of the executive team, our list of areas that we should pay attention to or we'll be discussing moving forward?
I think the big thing is just finding mentors, finding the right mentors, finding people that truly believe in the cause, because we don't want just anyone to just kind of show up and be here. We want people who truly do believe in communities, people who truly do believe in the purpose and in the integrity of the organization, people who believe in the core values that LRL holds. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, we want mentors that are going to be encouraging to our students, mentors that are going to be available for events like Taylor was saying with the career talks and for other events that we're going to host as well, so that they are being a presence to show other students and other people where they can be.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a big part of it is just finding the right mentors. Absolutely. And then just us as a board as a whole, just being on the same page for the mission and for the core values and what our strive for this excellence of this organization is.
Absolutely. And I know you had an opportunity to connect with a couple of individuals through LinkedIn, which is a great source. I have to tell you all, I literally went from like 2,000 to almost 4,000 people on my LinkedIn page. And so I know that network is so powerful. I highly recommend everyone that's on the call to join that platform. And also to follow Leaders Recognizing Leaders page and to be able to engage in the conversations as we continue to talk about leadership development. But can you tell us what was like one of your interview processing? How was that for a couple of persons who I guess you had reached out to and they connected with you? and expressing interest in joining Leaders Recognizing Leaders?
Yeah, so I'll speak about a couple of them. One of them was one that we don't want. I met with him and he was like, yeah, I just took this call because, I was trying to be nice, but I'm really not that interested in working with youth or with kids or with anything like that. And I was like, oh, well, thank you for letting me know.
Okay.
We don't have to continue on. This can end here. And then another one was absolutely phenomenal. I had two of them actually that were absolutely phenomenal. And whenever I met with them, they're like, yes, this is what I want to do. And I initially started them off with what are their values? What do they feel their purpose is here on earth? What do they feel like their gifts and their talents are? What is it that they are doing now? How are they working within their own communities and things like that, to be able to kind of gauge whether their information would match with ours. And once they gave me their information, I'm like, well, since you said this, and this is actually what LRL stands for as well. So since our views and our values align, I think that you would be a great mentor for our youth and for our young adults, for all of our people between ages 15 to 25, because you are what they want to be. And you are able to embody the characteristics that they are wanting to have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. And I can appreciate the fact that you had mentioned that, because so often you would see people who are out there doing great work and you would think that the commitment level will be there. But as discussed by Taylor, it's important that we have people on board who are really willing to take the time to commit to this work. And yes, there are great people who can commit to this work in different spaces and in different platforms. And some may contribute, right? And some may be able to commit their time. But I think what's so great is once we have a core team, of which we do, of individuals who are able to really vet the process and to see who's out there, who's really willing to come and take the time to work with us as we work with the students. I think it's so critical that we know what they're about and what their interest level, where their interest level lie. And I think that will even motivate us as individuals working on this work behind the scenes. And of course, we also have to remember that we too have to stay motivated. And sometimes it can be a deterrent when you have someone who's coming in and they're not really as passionate or committed to the work. And so I'm so glad to know that you did share that part where you had someone who basically seemed like they would have been a great connecting person to the organization. But there's some ways that we can probably include them in other spaces as opposed to the mentoring component. So that's awesome.
Yeah, he was great on paper, but I would not recommend as a mentor for our target audience. Okay. He'll be a great mentor for someone in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, but not a mentor for 15 to 25 for our audience.
Okay. Awesome. And any other points that you'd like to share as we are?
I would also, this is separate, but I would also piggyback off of Taylor's career talks, because I think that with our career talks, the students are actually able to see different careers that they never would have thought of, and go down different avenues that they hadn't ever even maybe heard of or didn't know were possible, because a lot of people come from different neighborhoods that you feel limited. And so this is an eye-opening experience where even though you come from one community, you can work your way into other communities as well. Mm-hmm. And with LinkedIn, it's a great networking experience. 1,000% agree with that. Every student, every member should be on LinkedIn and networking with the people. Start thinking about the types of fields that you want to go in and just start networking with everyone. And anyone who's here can add us as well on LinkedIn to network with us as well.
Absolutely. And I want to put a charge out for all of us who are on the call. I know that Taylor typically would host the career talks, but I want to encourage all of us to be able to host a career professional and really to talk about a subject that you're passionate about in terms of your career platform, and to be able to seek out some speakers and to host them through the Leaders Recognizing Leaders IG Live page. And as we continue to grow, I mean, of course, to be able to get more people to do this work is definitely the goal. And so the hope is that more students would also be able to interview these individuals. But I think for us to kick it off, do you all think that we can get that commitment from each of you to be able to host a career talk? I'm finally opening up my shell that I can be available. So how's everyone feeling about being a host on an IG Live career talk?
I'm
I like it.
I'm definitely ready and down.
Okay, so I see Taylor's ready. Anyone else?
I'm a bit nervous, but I'll do it. I don't mind. I
Super.
have to get out of my shell too. So
Super. And
yeah.
Kamora is in the field of accounting and finance, so this should be really good.
And it would be
Especially as we're going into
awesome.
tax season.
There you
Oh,
go. There, we can find some speakers. Like I know we can find some speakers. So I'm sure you
definitely.
have some questions that you can ask them, and it will be beneficial to you just to be able to sit there and listen and learn and network. And it's really about networking and creating relationship, building relationship. And so, yeah.
And that's a big part of a community is just building relationships. That's what a community is. It's just a giant relationship.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Would anyone else like to offer their time commitment to being a host for Career Talk?
I could probably do it.
Okay, okay, super, super. You have a full schedule as is. I know you do. No pressure at all. But we definitely want to make sure that we stretch it out so that we can give you enough time to be available. And then of course, in between, I think Taylor, we should definitely push for us to be able to try to see how we can keep the energy of the career talks going and even bring back some other discussions around. I know Jasmine, you were great at pushing the self-care, right? Pushing conversations around self-care and promoting that. That is something that was just so helpful. In fact, you didn't know this, but you actually inspired me to start walking in the morning so that I can post something in the chat room about self-care. And so you never know how we're going to inspire each other, to go about doing different things within this process. So we're getting ready to wrap up our call today. I mean, we really had a hefty, full agenda and really just wanted to be able to get first our faces and eyes and ears together so that we can start beginning the conversation and bringing back the energy and bringing back the relationships to be able to continue to do this work, knowing that this work is not about us as individuals, but the lives of individuals that we can impact, the students who we can help and inspire in ways that, I mean, really would go beyond us. And one thing I would share that my mom shared with me is she said, don't forget the individuals and the faces of the persons who were impacted by this organization way back in 2009, right? She's like, don't forget those faces. And so that was very encouraging to be able to see and to hear their stories. And so then they recorded how they felt about the organization. And then even looking, moving forward, I think we should definitely keep up a way to be able to record person's thoughts so that 5 years from now, when it gets a little bit heavy again, we can still talk about, the work that we're doing and we can capture it because of course, none of us know if we're going to even be here next year, right? Like we just had a global pandemic. Like, let's just be real. We don't know when and how things are going to shift. So I think it's so critical that we continue to do things that will leave a lasting impression for the work that we're doing. And I just want to, again, just say thank you for those of you who are so dedicated and so committed to this work. We don't have any additional major reports at this time. I know we had previously our leaders, recognizing leaders awards gala that was in 2019, and there was a pause for that for 2023. So we'll still continue to work on that, those updates moving forward, as well as our Global Youth Leadership Conference to bring that back to the work of the organization. And there are multiple projects that we want to make sure encourage you all. If there is a particular project that you would like for us to see and to discuss and to bring forward for the students, please let us know. we really have an open discussion around building projects and building programs. And so if this is something that you would like to see happen and foster, I highly recommend that you share it and just kind of bring it forward so that we can grow it with you and watch it grow together. Dr. Felder's sharing, she said that she would be happy to host a career talk for Zoom. So super. Thank you so much, Dr. Felder, on being able to be a host. I know that that's going to be really exciting because, as you all know, again, Dr. Felder was with us from the very inception of Leaders Recognizing Leaders. So that also brings the history and the passion behind this work. So thank you for that. And there's no other messaging that I needed to share. Are there any other thoughts, Taylor, that you'd like to discuss before we get ready to adjourn today's meeting?
I do just want to mention, just kind of reiterate that hopefully we can continue meetings like this. I definitely enjoyed hearing each and every one of you today. And thank you for joining. Thank you for taking the time to even prepare for today's meeting. And so hopefully we can continue to keep this momentum going where we just update each other and kind of update everyone about the organization once a month. Should be pretty manageable, even though a lot of us, I'm sure, have very hectic schedules. But the fact that you all took the time today just shows your commitment and just your appreciation for the organization that Edwina put together, that she took so much time, so many years into this organization. I do want to express my gratitude to you as well, Edwina, for this organization. It's done a lot for me in just the few years that I've been in it. I'm excited for what it's going to continue to do for so many other people, my age, younger than me, older than me. So I'm just really excited to get to work. And I know that at times we probably have bouts of discouragement just in our own personal lives, and it could be for the organization as well. But that's where our faith is going to have to be really strong. But if we're surrounded by people like this, I have so much faith just from this meeting alone that we're going to take this so far. And it's bigger than us, as all of you were saying. It is bigger than all of us. So I'm really excited. Other than that, I don't have anything major I'd like to mention other than just some brainstorming meetings that I'll be talking about in the future in the next week. And just kind of opening the space to more conversations like this. This was more of a more formal, less formal meeting, but we're definitely going to have some more ideas coming as far as volunteer hours, how we can get more involved, mentors that we found. And actually, Jasmine, I absolutely love the way that you opened up that conversation with a lot of the people on LinkedIn, kind of giving me some ideas of how I can also open up conversations to people who could possibly be a part of the organization, mentors. But other than that, that's all I have. So thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
Do we have, this is Dr. Brown Felder. Do we have a Cash App
Yes.
that I can send my dues?
Yes, indeed. So I'm going to go
mean,
ahead and send it to you via text.
okay.
Yes,
That sounds good. Thank you.
I'll send it to you. And just one final thing in terms of the speakers. So I know I mentioned in the chat that I was going to share with you about the person who is getting ready to be a phenomenon in space. And so her name is Asia Bo. I'm actually in communication with her as we speak. And she's getting ready to be the first Black woman to go to space. And so I have to say that I think she would be such a phenomenal person to share her thoughts as she's also contributing her conversations in the STEM area to as many audiences as she possibly can. So I'm hopeful that we would be able to eventually get her to join a call and to talk to us. And as I shared, like she's getting ready to go to space very soon. So this is pretty exciting and have a lot of news, energy, and buzz, and all of that good stuff that's going on in her platform. So I think this is great for students to be able to see this and to hear these individuals and to connect with them. And the list of persons who are doing great things is very long. I mean, it's very long and it's extensive. And so we just need to be able to pull great ideas together to host these individuals so that we can hear from them and so that they can share their knowledge, so that we can impart them on our high school students so that they can be inspired. Because what we definitely know moving forward is that the generation of leaders, the programming and the workforce is shifting. There's a lot of change going on. And so we really have to tailor our conversations around soft skills, hard skills, best practices of how to get employed, best practices of how to handle the experiences of college. There's so many discussions we can add and keep going on, but I won't keep you today because I do have an information overload going on here. But I do thank you all for jumping on the call. Dr. Felder, make sure you get that Cash App information. Thank you, Jasmine, for jumping on board. And I guess one of the things I definitely want to make sure that we do is give us an update of how you are and what you're working on or what you're doing. And so those who are in college, you want to share a shout out to your school, give us an update so that we can kind of know what to ask for the next call. So whoever want to go first, please do so. We'll be happy to hear what you're working on or where you are, or what's new.
Well, for me, it's about to be finals, and I have like 2 papers due and a whole bunch of quizzes to complete. And I've kind of been procrastinating, but I know I'm gonna finish it on time. So that's what y'all can ask about next time if I finish it on time. If I got the grade on it.
It was super.
Absolutely felt that, Kimura. I'm in college too, and it's finals week, and it's already getting to me, but I'm almost done. And I actually just finished my honors project because I'm in the honors program at my school, and it's my first semester at this school now that I'm in Georgia. So I'm really happy about that. I did a project on how to build relationships through effective communication and build sustainable, ethical, collaborative relationships, which I would actually love to share with LRL one day too. I wouldn't mind presenting that as well, since it's part of our conversations anyways on communication. But just finished that and I'm done. Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Anyone else want to share what they're working on or what they're doing or something that's coming up for them? Exciting? So far we just have a lot of exams to get out of the way. Jasmine, I know that you're a host of the radio show, so any exciting features coming up?
Well, every week it's something exciting. I feel like just because each guest speaker that we have is someone who can bring something different to the table. So my show is called The Conflict Corner, and it's on 87.9 The Heat FM. And with that, it's all based on conflicts. So we bring someone in each week to discuss conflicts. So it can be anything from family to relationships. We've had therapists on. We've had leaders such as like city commissioners on. We've had all different types. We've had pastors on. We've had people from all different types of backgrounds to be able to come in and discuss different conflicts that they've had. We had a financial advisor come on and speak to us about conflicts that he's seen behind finances among couples and relationships and things like that. So it's a little bit different each time. And Edwina knows that I have many, many jobs. So the radio show is one of them. I'm also a PhD candidate in conflict analysis and resolution through Nova Southeastern. And I also am working with I'm a regional chair in Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm currently in Kentucky. The regional chair in Kentucky and Tennessee for the American Bar Association's Women in Dispute Resolution. So I work with 5 Fortune 500 companies to get them to try and utilize minorities, women, and people of color to come in and mediate cases within the Fortune 500 companies. And then also I volunteer. So outside of this right here, I also volunteer myself. I volunteer as a court-appointed special advocate where I represent the best interests of abused and neglected children in the family court system. So I'm currently working on a case with that, which I was supposed to have court this week and it was just postponed. So hopefully we'll be able to get a new court date soon.
Fantastic, fantastic. So one thing that we definitely know for sure is that we have hectic schedules. We really have hectic schedules. And I will tell you what I'm working on right now is just really amping up my resume, working on my resume. As you know, I just completed the defense. And so as I'm working towards my resume, that has been a great challenge for me. And as one would think it's so easy, well, you know, trying to get through the ATS system and really figure out the right words to say and all that good stuff. And really to condense your extensive language so that you can have 2 pages, if you will, and to kind of, you know, put it all together, the words. That is something I'm working on. So I'm open to having conversations around resume writing as well for anyone who would like to do a workshop of some sort eventually on that. I'm starting to put myself together so that I can get that going. And really just kind of keeping my conversations very broad, meeting some amazing folks on LinkedIn, and really just doing a lot of networking. So that's what I've been working on. And so far, it's been going pretty great. I have a really exciting meeting tomorrow that I will tell you all about next week. I hope it goes very well. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers. And also, Dr. Felder, I don't know if you all know this, but she is the senior pastor of Truth, Love, and Ministry Fellowship International in Nashville, Tennessee. So, Dr. Felder, is there anything that you're working on that you'd like to share with us?
I'm trying to, oh, yes. Always encouraging. I am working on a cartoon and a children's book in regards to the encourager.
Nice.
And this particular character goes around to encourage persons who may be melancholy or sad or just need that one little push to make it. So it's coming together. That's part of my personal memoirs. I really believe my purpose, and part of my purpose, is to encourage others to do and be what they've been created and encouraged to do. So you may see the little car, you know, like Superman and Shazam that's out now, and all of the DC. The encourager has come on.
I love it. I love it.
Is I come up with creative ideas in regards to the children's book. Thank you.
That is fantastic. And I know Octavian is on the road, and he's also working on resume building and engaging his business, which is a cleaning business as well. So, Octavian, do you want to share any words, or are you still on the road? I know you were on here, but are you still on the road? Do you want to say words of encouragement?
Yes, I'm still on the road.
Okay.
And in the last second, you mentioned so I had to come on, you
know. Oh, super. Well, thank you for coming on. Then, I appreciate it.
You know, words of encouragement: stay in school, stay motivated. That's words of encouragement.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I think that is something that we all appreciate on this call, because we're constantly developing ourselves and growing. And I do thank you for that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is right at that time. So thank you so much. I adjourned this meeting at 7:03. I want to stay within our time frame here. I know you have busy schedules, but thank you again for joining our Leaders Recognizing Leaders meeting. This was great. Our hope is to have another meeting in December, and I hope to see you all. And of course, please bring a friend. And we welcome any feedback, any thoughts, any commitment ideas that we should continue to work on. Other than that, have a fantastic evening. Thank you all.
Look forward to our next meeting.
Have a great night. Bye.